going, guys? Going to show you a couple new features in MEscope NXT ODS videos. So, got a video recorded here, processed of a fan spinning around. We've got our time data block, got our frequency data block, and we can see we've got this big frequency spike right here at about 4200 RPM, something like that, 4220 RPM. And first of all, this has been in the software for forever, but we can turn on our orders cursor, and that's going to show the orders of this frequency here. So you can see first off that the order isn't quite on this spike. This order isn't quite on this spike either. So to really kind of get, give us a little bit more fluff, it doesn't have to pick the exact order here. We're going to turn on either our band cursor or our peak cursor. And there's a slight difference. So the band cursor, let's get it centered right there. So this band cursor is now centered on top of this frequency, and we're going to pick, the orders cursor is going to pick spikes that are within that band up above. So it's not going to pick the exact, so you see, this is the center of this band, but we're still picking this peak and not quite this one. This guy is still a little bit off. So in order to really kind of just get the most forgiveness out of this display, we're going to click the peak cursor. And the peak cursor is actually going to select the peak inside this band, and then it's going to select these peaks inside the upper bands as well. So that's the orders cursor. We're showing the original frequency that we have selected and any orders above it. So what we've added recently is a aliased orders option, which is not displayable at the same time as the orders cursor. These two are independent. Otherwise this display might get crowded. But let's keep aliased orders here turned on, and so this was an order, this was an order, and now apparently this is an aliased order, this is an aliased order, and this is an aliased order. So these guys are just orders that have been reflected across the top frequency here, and this is really useful for if you have a video with a lower frame rate, lower frequency sampling, and maybe these orders were up above, outside of that frequency, outside of that maximum frequency here. So we can now see these orders, and that's pretty good. But we can go a little bit further with this. Let's go back to the orders cursor right here. Okay, so we've got these three orders. So now we're going to go to this orders filter task here, and we're going to get the same display here that we just were seeing previously, and we've got the same three orders here, the original and then these two orders, and basically we're going to be able to filter out any values that are not in these bands that we have, in these order bands. So everything else is going to be 0 down here, and we're just going to keep what's in these bands here. And we can go ahead and accept this, and it's going to create a new result set for us that now has that data block that we've generated as our frequency data block. So anything that we are trying to animate that's outside of this is just going to be all zeros here, so we're not going to get any motion over here in the video. But if we put our band, or we could do a line cursor or whatever around any of these frequencies, we're going to get animation showing at that frequency. So that's useful if you know that you just want to show these bands, you just want to animate from these bands, these are the important pieces, and you don't want any of this other frequency data, any of this other noise around here. So that's part one of the orders filter. And you can see here that we have a new result set called orders filter, and then the frequency at which we started, which we selected the orders filter. So we're going to go back to the original though, and we're going to do a little bit more processing. And so again, we're just going to go back to the orders filter task, and we're going to do the same thing. We've got these order bands here. Let's see if we can, I don't like that little spike right there. Let's see if I can move this band just a little bit in. Okay, there we go. So now we're showing these three orders. Same thing, you know, we just saw this, but we have this option up here called expand orders. It's going to expand the result data block to include the aliased orders. So let's check that box, and now we highlight the aliased orders, and we actually do the same kind of thing where we show these aliased orders down here in this graph, the result data block. We've actually expanded this data block to double the max frequency of the original data block. So, you know, here's 14,000 RPM, and here's 14,000 RPM, here's 28,000 RPM, right? So we've essentially just taken a little cutout of these aliased orders and reflected them down, so this corresponds with this one corresponds with this, and this one corresponds with this, right? So these aliased orders are reflected across the Fmax boundary of this data block. So now we can accept these results, and we are going to now generate a data block that has all 6 of the orders in it, and so now we can animate from the original one, the second order, the third order, the fourth order, which is the first aliased order, the fifth order, and the sixth order. So you're basically going to be able to expand your data block to catch those frequencies that you weren't able to catch if you had a lower sampling rate, lower frame rate, and actually animate those and show where those frequencies are and what order they are of the original frequency. And this also generated a result set. You can see it's the same frequency there, but this one is expanded. Again, you can rename these if you want, but we try to give you a pretty useful name here that shows you what this result set is. So that is the new orders, aliased orders, and orders filter task in NXT ODS videos. Thanks.